Hello everyone, and welcome to a little video I'm going to be doing on Metasploit today. And hopefully, if everything goes as planned, we're going to be using MSF Venom to launch through a server we'll be hosting on this machine to this target computer that we are currently logged in as through SSH, just to show that, one foot in the door, what we can do with some staged payloads and just with some unstaged payloads. And I'm just going to be showing y'all a single stage payload today, and to do that we're going to be launching MSF console. So Metasploit just has a lot of different features. Today we're going to be using a Linux times 64, and hopefully something didn't run right. Here we go. Now we should be able to use X times X and see just a list of payloads that basically are available to us. Lighten this a little. So I think today we will use let's try this one right here. So we're going to use payload 5. So now that we have figured out what we're going to use, we just come down here and do use 5. Now that's not necessary every single time. You can just, if you know what payload you're going to use, you don't have to search. But I'm just going to go back in my message history here so we can go ahead and pull up the command we're going to be using. So I'm going to explain each part of this command as we go through from the beginning. So first we have sudo, which is basically just giving us superuser do permissions with this command. Next we're signifying we're going to be using MSF Venom to create this exploit. And then tacp is actually the payload we're going to be using. So you can see on this command what payload I was using previously, but this just isn't the one we're going to use this time around. So we're going to go ahead and get that in, and then tacf is the file type, so we're going to be saving this as an elf or elf executable. And then taco is we're going to be outputting this file. So for convenience, I've gone ahead and put this into the var www.html, which basically just puts it directly into our web server. And then using lhost, we're signifying which IP we're going to be listening on, and if you look in the top right, you can see that's our VPN's IP. And then what port? We're just going to be using 443 to hopefully get past some of those exiting traffic IDS systems, firewalls, to such. So we should go ahead and be able to press enter, and we'll see that payload appear in our web server, just as we have now. And you can see it's not human readable by any means. So now we're going to come down here, and actually we can go ahead and start our web server using sudo python 3 techm http server 80, which is the port we're going to be hosting this on. This is http 80 is just that typical port. We can hit enter, and now that's going to be able to serve any requests that we have, specifically ones we're going to be requesting from our shell target to download this to the computer. That's how we're going to be transferring that data. So now we actually need to use multi-handler to get a listener up and running. So I will go ahead and run options, and this basically just shows you what we need to set. And I'll show you how to set these too in case you're a little curious. So our lhost, which is where we're listening, will be our IP address, and the port will be our port that we're going to be listening on. And these should match the ones that you put in your payload right here. So to set these, you would do set lhost and then the IP, or set lport and then your port. So we do need to go ahead and set our payload to match the updated one, which is Linux times 64 shell reverse TCP. So we should be able to hit the enter and then run exploit. And so we've gone ahead and started our reverse TCP handler on our IP address on that specified port. So now we're going to come into our shell, and basically we need to run a wget command which is right here, and this is just going to get from our server we have running this file right here. So if we hit enter, and we can see that this was served code 200, it went through. A decently small file. 194 bytes. Do they get smaller? Yes. Do they get bigger? Much bigger. That's what stages are typically used for. So now that we have that on here, we need to go ahead and change our user permissions so that this is executable, if it would let me use plus. And I think this is going to be shell.elf.2, just because I did have a few shells on here that I was practicing with earlier. So now that that's running and our listener is also running, we should just be able to come in here and do shell.elf.2. And when we hit enter, what we're going to be looking for is a little response down here in our multi-handler window. And it core dumped failed on start. So I was actually a little worried about this. I'm not personally entirely sure how to fix this issue. It could be something wrong with the payload itself. So very quickly, I will show you how we can set up another payload. We're going to go ahead and delete this right here. We can leave our web server running. We can leave... Actually, we're going to need to go ahead and restart this. So we're going to be changing the payload we have set. So let's go ahead and get that going. Then we're going to use a Linux. This time we will actually use a stager, and I'm thinking this one. So we're going to use 6, right? So you can see the difference in how these are written, right? This one has a slash right here. This one has an underscore. So the underscore signifies it's a one stage, and the slash basically signifies that there are at least 2 stages. So now that we have that set, we're going to get this command back that we had earlier. Now everything is going to stay exactly as it was, and I was worried about this. I didn't hold it to the end, but something's wrong with my virtual machine, and it does not like when I hold buttons. So bear with me here for a second. Whoa, 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 whoa. Stop that. Okay, here we go. Try not to over delete anything. So we can put in that right here. And that's gone ahead and made our executable. So we're going to set that payload down here too. And we should be able to run our exploit. And that is running. And we're basically just going to come here, run this again. I'm just going to, for peace of mind, make that run again. Looks nice, you know? So we have that running. Now we need to chmod again. And we should go ahead and be able to run this and get a response. So that first response is basically us signifying we have a connection, and then we're sending the stage, and this stage should have gone through. So if you'll notice in this bottom left window, if I type in who am I am shell. So this is just a really basic version of a shell. Now we could use Meterpreter and get some more advanced things going, things that allow us to, I don't know, take snapshots of desktops, log keystrokes, do a lot more. This is a pretty, it is slightly interactive, but it's nothing like a full capability shell would be. But this is just basically showing the core concepts of MSF Venom and what you can do with it. And, you know, I included the real world examples, you know, where we fail a little and have to create a way to go around it. But that's all part of the learning process. And I hope, if anything, you were able to learn something from this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. See y'all guys in the next one.